Can you imagine your life where money is your friend, working with you to achieve all your dreams and desires? If you struggle seeing money as your friend, then join Kathy Cook-Noble, financial advisor and educator on understanding how your money can work for you. It is possible. Now, here is Financially Speaking with Kathy Cook-Noble.
Good afternoon and welcome to Financially Speaking on the Inspired Choices Network. I am your co-host, Kathy Cook-Noble, with Ashlee Quinn-Hogan, who is our youth financial host. And it's always exciting when we get to do a show together because it doesn't happen nearly enough, I don't think, because I learn a lot and I think it's a lot of fun. And it just, takes me back and I feel like I'm the same age as you. How about that?
Yeah.
So welcome back, Ashlee. It's exciting that we get together and we talk a little bit about the Inspired Choices Network and what we do here every Monday night, either myself or Ashlee. We tackle a financial topic that is either of concern or question or confusion to people that have asked us about it or that we've heard, just frustrated over a topic or they're confused. And all the show topics that I've done, and I think that Ashlee's done too, are all from somebody asking that question, whether it's a friend, a family member, right in to the network, which of course we always welcome and encourage you to do. If you want, you can join us live on the Inspired Choices Network in the chat room, and you can talk to us, ask questions during the show. And if you don't happen to get it when we're live, that's okay. We're on over 250 platforms and growing, and you're welcome to catch us on our podcast. And the very, very easy way to do that is to download the app. It is absolutely free. It's completely compatible with your Android, your iPhone. It's available in the app stores. So just download it. It's super, super easy. You can access any of your shows, any of your hosts, anytime. You can listen live. So if you can't get on you're on the road or whatever, and you want to listen to it live, you certainly could. And you certainly can join us in the chat room then too. It's very, very easy to do. And the beauty of the Inspired Choices Network is that the whole network focuses on a holistic approach to your life. And Ashlee and I talk about the financial side because, we love it and live it every day and think it's a lot of fun. But, and it's important, clearly, we all need to have some level of financial understanding and finances. But the whole network really is available to anyone with questions about relationships, jobs and finding jobs, keeping jobs, the coaching with your business, getting into business, child rearing, whatever the questions are, lifestyle and coaching. There's all kinds of different guests that we have on the show to talk about more of an expanded financial topic, and all the other hosts have all the other topics covered. So the beauty of it is you get the finances working with the the body and the mind, and that really makes a very successful life and a very happy life, I think. So Ashlee, did I kind of nail it a little bit on that?
I think so. I mean, I think that the best kind of part of Inspired Choices is, like you said, it's like a holistic approach to life. You kind of have a little bit of everything in there, and you and I happen to be the financial portion of that. Which, I mean, I'm not going to say it's the most important, but it's definitely a good part of that. And the Inspired Choices Network it's a great place to tune in and sort of get your weekly dose or your daily dose of all things holistic and good for you.
Exactly. And today we're talking about cryptocurrency, aren't we? And
we are.
What a fun topic. Like it's almost not even like a financial topic because it's almost like a popular game you see on TV or something that everyone's talking about and nobody really understands it and knows what it is and what's the difference between blockchain technology and cryptocurrency and what's Bitcoin. And those are all things I hear a lot of. You probably do too. Like people your age especially would be, when you guys would be talking about all that cool hip stuff that's happening, right?
Yeah. So one of my friends the other day, we were having a conversation and I mentioned the podcast and that I was working on, thinking of some new up and coming episodes to record. And he was like, have you ever done one on cryptocurrency? And I was like, that's a really good idea. I was like, I haven't, but it's a good idea because it's something new. It's something I am, humble enough to say I don't know. I'm not an expert on it. I don't know a whole lot about it. I know probably the basics. I've done my share of research now, but at the time I knew very little about it. And I was like, you know what, this is a great podcast episode because, the episodes that are the most enjoyable for me are the ones that teach me something. And so I know that there's a lot to learn about cryptocurrency. It's extremely complex. Like you said, it's almost like this digital game just about. And, it's one of those topics that it can be hard to wrap your brain around because there's so many different moving components. So, I'm really excited to learn about it. I know that a lot of people my age and even like younger than me, which is great, are sort of throwing their hat in the ring in terms of cryptocurrency and sort of finding the ins and outs of it. So hopefully, today we can give a little bit of our opinion and our insight into how cryptocurrency works and how it can be used to sort of improve your investment portfolio.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Now I have to do my standard disclaimer that I never do on the show because I don't have to do on the show because blockchain and cryptocurrency is a little bit different. It is not something that I am licensed to trade. I am not licensed to buy and sell it. I do not use it as part of my practice because that's not on my platform because of the regulation, which Ashlee and I are going to talk about. So what we're talking about today is just some knowledge, information. This is in no way, shape, or form advice to say go out and buy any of it. This is not to say load up. This is your retirement plan. You did not just dial in and get the golden ticket or the winning lottery. This is not that's not that kind of show. But Ashlee and I are just going to share a little bit and try and, like what we normally do with topics, clear a little bit of the cobwebs out and some of the confusion. And I think maybe the way where we should start, and Ashlee, you tell me, but I was thinking maybe we start just with what is, when they talk about cryptocurrency, what is it? What do people think it is? And what do we know that it actually is? So when you hear people talking about, what do they think it is?
For the most part, even I struggled with that at the beginning when I would hear people speak of cryptocurrency. I was like, well, what is the difference between that? Trading cryptocurrency and buying and selling cryptocurrency versus buying, selling, and trading, regular stocks and things like that. And I think it is a common question. I think a lot of people don't know because you can, buy and trade. Like a lot of buying and trading is done electronically now anyway. So there's kind of like a blurred line there. But the difference with cryptocurrency is that it's like a digital form of currency. Like there's no physical, coin or bill or anything like that. It's all digital and it's all, computational, which I think, again, that's a hard thing to wrap your brain around, but it's all, what it boils down to is, computer science and a lot of really smart people, coming up with these different types of currency. I don't know, Kathy, what do you have to offer there?
So I think the name itself is a little misleading because crypto is sort of a mystery. And I agree with that. But the currency part of it is people think it's like an exchange of tender, like what we give value to dollar bills and coins and stuff like that. And it's actually not a currency. And people think that it is because of the name, but currency can only be regulated by the Fed and in the government. They give the blessing of what we're going to use as currency and tender. So we know that the dollar bill in Canada, the United States, the pound, all the different kinds of currencies that are out there, they are accepted as the currency of whatever country it is. So we know that if we go to a store, we give them a dollar bill and they're going to give us a chocolate bar or whatever the case is. but you can't really do that with cryptocurrency. Cryptocurrency is, it's kind of one of those areas where it started out without any regulation. And exactly like you said, it started out with a lot of really smart people being able to mine it, which is what we'll talk about how you get it. They if you kind of picture an invisible hand reaching inside your hard drive and pulling out the crypto or the Bitcoin part of it, that's kind of what it is. That's the way I kind of picture it. But they mine it out of computers, and it costs, there are some miners, they're called, crypto miners, that it's hundreds of thousands of dollars a month that they pay in utilities. Because if you think about all the servers that you would be running in one room and how much energy that takes, 24 hours, 7 days a week, and they're mining this stuff because you get little fragments in all these different places, and they all come together for one Bitcoin. And just for an example, we'll talk about the different kinds, but Bitcoin is one of the kinds, which is probably the most popular, which everybody's heard about. I would say Bitcoin and Ethereum are the two big ones, except, Dogecoin, and that comes down to Elon Musk, which was a lot of fun, but it became legitimate. And this is why it's so entertaining, because you get somebody as powerful and as smart as Elon Musk, and he comes on and he names a coin after his dog, and it becomes a legitimate currency. And I think it's kind of funny. And then this other one, the Dogecoin one, he's like, oh, I think there's value in, I'm going to take it, accept it at Tesla. And all of a sudden everybody's like, oh, right on, we're going to buy it. So that's why I think it's kind of funny. It's almost like a game where you're playing some kind of poker game with a guy like Elon Musk, who's like super smart and super wealthy, and he can say stuff like that, and people go out and act on it. But the reality of it is it's not currency yet. So it'd be the same as, I guess to me, the equivalent would be if I trade you, you have an extra chair and I have an extra desk, and I trade you the chair for the desk, then that's our currency of trade, but it's not an actual currency, right? Now, the cool thing about it is the technology behind it, which is the blockchain. And that's the part that I think is fascinating, because there is a lot of mainstream businesses and big financial companies that are already using the blockchain technology. So how do we put these together is kind of the way I look at it. And I think, which one, there's so many, there's over about 10,000 different kinds of cryptocurrencies. So I think, good God, like we don't have that many different kinds of dollar bills. So how do you know which one to use, and who's going to use it? It's in Canada. I don't know if many, I don't know, Ashlee, if you would remember, but Canadian Tire money was a thing, and anyone in Canada will know this, right? You'd get this colorful piece of paper, and it was Canadian Tire money. It would say 2 cents on it, 5 cents on it, but it wasn't issued by the mint in Canada, so it's not legal tender, and you couldn't use it as legal tender. So in reality, I couldn't take Canadian Tire money to the grocery store and buy milk, but I could take it into the store and use it as a kind of cash to buy, a tire. So that to me is kind of, I laugh when I think about the cryptocurrency, because I'm like, geez, Canadian Tire maybe was on the right track all those years ago. I don't know. They could have been the first currency, non-legal tender. But right now, we're only buying it and selling it or using it to buy stuff because we agree that I'll accept it, even though it's not legal tender. So that's my long-winded answer to say it's not really real money, but I think it might be going that way, depending on who you believe and who you listen to, and if you think that there's a future in a different way of doing business, and I don't mean just business like you go to the store and buy stuff. I mean, you could get hired and say, and there were some professional athletes that did this, and they said, I'll take a part of it in Bitcoin. So I want you to pay me in a little bit of Bitcoin, a little bit of US dollars, which is normally what they get paid in. And you think, geez, if you're starting to see that kind of mainstream activity, then you got to question whether or not this was just if it was just a fad or a fun thing for a bunch of really smart computer science guys. So for me in the financial industry, I think it's fascinating because, we never get new sectors come on. And in the last couple of years, we've had a real change in a lot of things. Like you had the cannabis industry come on as a legitimate industry and in a legitimate sector now, and there's more and more legalization happening with it. So that's kind of fascinating. And you're like, oh wow, like since when do you get a whole sector come on? That's kind of cool. And now you've got cryptocurrency, and you're like, well, this is a whole new thing. Now we're talking about how we're gonna trade in what kind of currency. Like since when hasn't it just been the dollar in North America? So it's kind of, I think it's fun to read about, and I think it's kind of exciting to see the different professional investors, because you listen to them and some are like, yeah, absolutely, and the others are like, no way in the world. So I'm like, you guys are the smart guys and you don't agree. So yeah, I don't know, but I think we are coming up to our first break. If Ashlee, if you want to take us out to a break, then we can come back. We can start talking about blockchain and how the currency works.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, Kathy left it at a good point there. Less so cryptocurrency, like she said, it's kind of a misleading name. It's not, shouldn't be necessarily considered a currency as much as it should be considered like an asset, right? So like crypto asset might be a better name for it. I don't know. If we go ahead with that, I'm going to take credit, but
Yep.
I'm going to trademark that right now. But anyway, yeah, we're going to head into a break. When we come back, we'll talk a little bit more about blockchain technology and some of the ins and outs of cryptocurrency, some common ones, Bitcoin, Ethereum. Like Kathy said, there's tens of thousands of different cryptocurrencies out there. So we're not going to cover all of them, but there's a few super popular ones and ones that you would have heard a lot about. But yes, let's head into a break. And then when we come back, we'll discuss all of that stuff. So you're listening to Financially Speaking on the Inspired Choices Network. I'm Ashlee. I'm here with Kathy today, and we've been discussing cryptocurrency. We'll be right back in a few minutes.
Too many of us get caught up in the unreal lives of reality television and complete to acquire stuff, which is setting us up to accumulate lots of debt. We're scared, confused, and don't know who to talk to. By tuning into Financially Speaking radio show with financial advisor and educator Kathy Cook-Noble, you'll learn tips you can use to improve your financial health, which in turn can improve your overall health and make for a very happy life. Live a life you can afford and enjoy. It is possible. Listen for Financially Speaking radio show every Monday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 3 p.m. Central, 2 p.m. Mountain, and 1 p.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. Are you a subject matter expert? Are you here to share your expertise with an audience waiting to hear from you in only the way you can deliver? Are you ready to have your voice amplified across the airwaves? Inspired Choices Network has a global radio platform streaming to millions of people across the world. Professionally produced and supported by an accomplished team every step of the way, you can broadcast from anywhere in the world, knowing your voice matters, and we ensure it is delivered with ease and efficiency. Eager to hear your message, the world awaits. Contact us today to become an Inspired Choices Network radio host. Email becomeahost@inspiredchoicesnetwork.com. This is the Financially Speaking Show with financial advisor and educator Kathy Cook-Noble. To participate in the program, join our live studio audience in our chat room at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com. You can also make the choice to ask or comment by email by sending to Kathy@bookkeepplus.ca. Now back to the program.
Alrighty, welcome back, everyone. I'm Ashlee. I'm joined here with Kathy today, and we've been discussing cryptocurrency. Before we headed into the break, we were talking a little bit about why cryptocurrency is sort of a misleading name. And we started to, talk a little bit about some common types of cryptocurrency, and a little bit about blockchain technology, which I think we're going to get into in a little more detail now. In terms of blockchain technology, Kathy said she was super fascinated by it, and I think it's fascinating as well. I'm also very confused by it, because I think it is one of those things that It kind of is difficult to wrap your head around. It takes a lot of energy and a lot of focus to really get a handle on it. And I know for myself, it took a while. It took a lot of reading to sort of figure out, what the heck is blockchain technology? And with that, I mean, Kathy, start us off with what this crazy concept is.
So I totally agree. And I have to tell you, you first, like a few years back, when we first started hearing about Bitcoin and blockchain, I thought it was the same thing. And then you get looking into it and you're like, oh, wait, no, blockchain is not the actual cryptocurrency, it's Bitcoin. So this is how I picture it. Cryptocurrency is the category of all the different types of cryptocurrency there are. So there's those, like I think I said, there's over 2,000 of them. There's blockchain, or there's Bitcoin, there's Ethereum, there's Litecoin, there's Dogecoin, there's all kinds of them. And the blockchain is kind of how I picture the conveyor of moving it along. So blockchain technology is the system of recording the data and the information. And the way I kind of had it explained to me, and the way I picture it is, how you get fragments on your hard drive, and you've got little pieces over in each of the different spots on your computer, and then you defrag your hard drive and it cleans up all these little pieces hanging around. So the blockchain technology to me is, instead of it being a fragment of information, different pieces. So like in the cyber world, we have our birth date over here, our social insurance or social security number over here, our address over there, whether you have a dog or a cat over here, what city you live in. And then you clean all that up into one spot and you're like, okay, I have it all together. That's kind of how it happens now. The blockchain is a system that tightens it up. So instead of somebody being able to breach your information or crack into your computer, like break into it and say, hack it, I can see her social insurance, or I can see her birth date or her address or whatever. And that's how they can start to put that stuff together. Blockchain's meant to be more secure. So it's a system of information where I kind of picture it like this. We've got my name, my birth date, my phone number, my address, all linked together. That's the way I picture it in my mind on how it looks. So it's all linked together in a more secure path. So all my information is safer together. That kind of is the image I use when I think about it. So blockchain is your platform to move the information. And you want to have it so that it's safe and secure and it's hard to hack. And that was the intention of it, that it was much better than the digital systems that we have, because they wanted to make it so you couldn't hack it. Now, that's a great thing, because we don't want our stuff hacked. It's not perfect, and it can be, because each of your cryptocurrencies has one unique identification, we'll say. So you know how your dollar bills and all that have a serial number on it. So the same is true of cryptocurrency. They have serial numbers, and they're just really harder to trace because you don't hold it in your hand, but you do hold it in what's called a wallet. So just to confuse everybody, there's a wallet that you have to hold your money in. So here's how I picture it. I have cryptocurrency and it's in my wallet. So I know I have 2 Bitcoins, for example, in my wallet, and it's secured on this platform of information called the blockchain. Now, I don't physically have the money in my hand, but I can see it, just like I can dial into my bank account and see it on whatever standard bank that you bank with. You can see your dollars. So you're not holding all your money in your hand at all times, just like you're not holding all your cryptocurrency in your hand, but you can log in just like a bank account and look at it. And that's where it is in your wallet. And then to throw just a little bit of fun into it, which maybe we can talk about later, is all these, you've heard the NFTs, the non-fungible tokens that people are talking about. And that's all part of the crypto world, because that's how they're paying for it, but it's not a currency. So cryptocurrency is fungible, where you can touch it in a sense, you can see it. NFT is non-fungible, you can't touch it and you can't see it. And it's all done by exchanging all this stuff online. So it's all digital. It's all happening in front of you, but it's all happening online. And the blockchain is the secure way that we're doing it, or the most secure way we're doing it, because it's not perfect, but There are a lot of very streamlined financial institutions and big companies that are starting to use the blockchain technology because of the security of it. And cybersecurity is such a big deal. And you've heard about people being hacked and so forth. So, data getting breached, and, now they've got your birth date. Instead of being in Canada, there's somebody stole your identity in Alaska or something. And that's how cybersecurity works. But the blockchain is meant to be more secure. So you've got bigger companies that are using it, but they're not using cryptocurrency yet. So the two are not the same, but the cryptocurrency works on the blockchain platform. So did that completely, if Christine's listening, did that make your head spin around?
It's definitely like a complex system that, is being implemented here. And, I'm kind of glad you brought up NFTs, because that's just another sort of layer to the cryptocurrency conversation. And yeah, with NFTs, to sort of try and simplify it a little bit. And Kathy, you can confirm this, whether this is a good analogy or not, but I think of like fungible, sort of as like interchangeable, right? Like it's an interchangeable asset in terms of, say, for example, you had a $20 bill and I had a $20 bill. We could swap those $20 bills and we could exchange them with each other, and it, we would still be in the same situation. It doesn't, those $20 bills mean the same thing. Whereas with like a non-fungible asset, say, for example, you had a dog and I had a dog, and they could be the exact same breed, but if we swap them, it's not necessarily the same thing. Like those dogs are unique in their own existence, right? So that's also where it gets more complex, because you do have cryptocurrencies that are fungible, so that they are sort of like that $20 bill that can be interchanged, without problem. But then you also have these non-fungible tokens that are sort of inherently different in their own existence. So I think that, that as well adds another layer of sort of the big mind F to the whole thing, right?
That's right. That's exactly right. Yeah, that's exactly right. So the NFT is in my mind, it's just a digital trading card. So way back when you used to have and I'm going to use a very Canadian example. If you had the Wayne Gretzky rookie card from your set of hockey cards that you used to collect, and my brother collected all of them, then that was it. It's worth a lot of money if you have the Wayne Gretzky original rookie card and it's in your hand and it's in mint condition. It's worth a lot. You could retire on that puppy. It's worth a lot. So the NFT is kind of like that, except it's one of a kind. So there might be 4 rookie cards. I really don't know how many Wayne Gretzky rookie cards there are, but let's say there's 4 and you and I each have one. Mine could be I carried it around in my wallet. I got him to autograph it when I met him. It's not in the best of shape. But yours, you put under glass and it doesn't even have a rounded corner. It's like perfect. Yours is worth more than mine. That's in what we know is the real world. In the NFT world, it is one digital asset that they're calling it, and it's unique. So the very first, there can only be one first tweet on Twitter. And the very first tweet was by Jack Dorsey, the guy who founded it. So there can only ever be one of those. And that NFT sold for millions of dollars because you can only have one ever in the world. And now, to me, it's just bragging rights to say I had, and it's not that you and I couldn't read the first tweet from Jack Dorsey, because we have, but if I own the NFT, I'm the only one that has the original and sole footprint of that digital piece of art, I guess it would be called. So that's so you're right. It's 100% unique in that sense. And they all have that unique digital footprint. So on personal opinion side, I wouldn't know the difference of it. If you showed it to me or not, I would know the difference between your Wayne Gretzky rookie card and my Wayne Gretzky rookie card. But if you showed me your NFT from the first tweet, would I really appreciate it for the millions of dollars you paid for it? Maybe not right now. But that's just me.
Yeah, no, definitely. And it's one of those things too, where, you know, certain really advanced traders with crypto, you know, that means a lot to them. And, you know, in terms of sort of more hobbyists, I'll call it, right? It doesn't really mean a whole heck of a lot, but, you know, I guess the important thing is that there is a difference there in terms of, it's just another layer, right? Like and it's just another sort of point to reinforce this idea that, you know, cryptocurrency really isn't a currency because, you know, with the currency we have right now, like I said, you know, if I had a $5 bill and Kathy had a $5 bill and we swapped them, we'd be no worse for the wear, you know, so long as one wasn't counterfeit. But we each have a $5 bill and we swap them and we can do that no problem. And we each have $5 to our name. Whereas with cryptocurrency, that's not always the case. You know, it's this added element of sort of this added dimension of sophistication that, you know, it takes a while to wrap your head around, but I think it allows for, it's why it's so appealing, right? It allows for sort of this sophistication and next level to the practice of trading and buying and swapping and selling and all of that.
Yeah. And I think it gives you because an NFT is unique and it's secured by the blockchain, and you can't change the ownership of it. So if you own that first tweet, for example, I can't change that. And you know how you used to get those, or you still do, those certificates of authenticity when you buy a signed jersey or a signed hockey stick or whatever, baseball, whatever,
Yeah.
you get the certificate. This is like having that certificate, but you can't forge it and nobody can change it. So I couldn't forge Wayne Gretzky's signature and then say, you know what I mean? Not well, I'm sure, but I'm guessing people have tried, but it's not something you can do with an NFT because it's a very unique digital, and it's digital, right? So it's not like it's a piece of paper that you can make another one of or make it fraudulent or anything like that. So
yeah, and that's the appeal, right? Like that's the appeal to it, is that there's this next level of security. I think that's the big thing with technology just being so popular and so ever changing and evolving, that this security that cryptocurrency brings into investing, I think, you know, is where people are interested for the most part, besides, you know, becoming a millionaire overnight. But it's the security and the blockchain and the linking of these computer systems and softwares and networks and things like that that make it a truly sort of remarkable system.
Yeah, I think you're right. Oh, look at that. Another break already. Goodness. See, all this fun with blockchain and crypto. We're up to our second break already, Ashlee.
Yeah, time flies when you're having fun, eh? Yeah, well, anyway, so I guess we should head into that second break. When we get back, maybe we'll talk a little bit about some different types of cryptocurrency and sort of what's the hot topic, you know, the cool jams or what's going on out there. But I guess we'll head into our second break of the show. You're listening to Financially Speaking on the Inspired Choices Network. I'm Ashlee. I'm joined here with Kathy today. And we'll be right back in a few minutes.
Too many of us get caught up in the unreal lives of reality television and complete to acquire stuff, which is setting us up to accumulate lots of debt. We're scared, confused, and don't know who to talk to. By tuning into Financially Speaking radio show with financial advisor and educator Kathy Cook-Noble, you'll learn tips you can use to improve your financial health, which in turn can improve your overall health and make for a very happy life. Live a life you can afford and enjoy. It is possible. Listen for Financially Speaking radio show every Monday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 3 p.m. Central, 2 p.m. Mountain and 1 p.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. Money is complicated, right? Actually, no, it's not. You don't have to be a trader on Wall Street to get a handle on your money. TV shows often instill fear to keep you believing you can't understand it or do anything yourself. If dealing with your finances brings up a lot of other F words, then you need to read All Ladies Should Use the F Word, A Guide to Loving Your Finances by Kathy Cook-Noble. Kathy helps you take control of your finances and leave the other F word, fear, in the dust.
How wonderful would it be to carry your favorite Inspired Choices Network host with you throughout your day? Well, now you can. Inspired Choices Network now has its very own mobile app. Our free app offers live streaming shows, along with thousands of podcasts and TV episodes. Our shows cover a wide variety of topics. Whether you're waking up with us, carrying us through the day, and taking us to bed with you, we're always here for you to enjoy. We're easy to find. Just search for Inspired Choices Network in the Apple App Store or Google Play Store.
This is the Financially Speaking Show with financial advisor and educator Kathy Cook-Noble. To participate in the program, join our live studio audience in our chat room at InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. You can also make the choice to ask or comment by email by sending to Kathy@bookkeepplus.ca. Now back to the program.
Alrighty, welcome back, everyone. Thanks for joining us. I'm Ashlee. I'm here with Kathy today. We've been talking a little bit about cryptocurrency, sort of the hot new commodity out there. And before we went into our break, we were talking a little bit about NFTs and blockchain technology, and we sort of name dropped a few of the really popular cryptocurrencies out there, with Bitcoin being one that sort of everyone's heard of, and rightly so. I mean, that it's, one of the cryptocurrencies that went from 0 to 100 really fast, and I think with Bitcoin, a lot of people sort of entered this cryptocurrency market or looking to enter into it with sort of the mindset of, get rich quick, which, I think it's worth sort of noting, giving a little bit of a caution here that, that's not necessarily the best, sort of route to take. And I think that goes with sort of any type of investing. I think sort of this is where cryptocurrency, is mirroring traditional forms of investing, and where it's not, if you're going into it to get rich quick, you're probably going to set yourself up for some failure. Kathy, what are your thoughts on that?
I don't agree that there's ever a get rich quick plan. And I get asked that a lot, and just give me the stock that's going to triple overnight and I'll put all my money in it. It doesn't happen very often. And man, you got to be so careful with that. So you're right, though. People who got into Bitcoin, that one cryptocurrency that we're talking about, years ago, when it was just pennies, and I just checked on the break, and it's trading just over 44,000 a unit US. So if you bought 100 of those at, $1, they're now worth over $44,000 a piece. So you'd be at almost $500,000. It's huge. And these are the stories that you hear about and people get excited about. And there was a family, and I'll tell you, you can Google them, but they took a chance, the dad, and they sold everything, their house and everything. They liquidated everything and put all their money in Bitcoin. And it paid off for him because they made millions of dollars. It's never disclosed. And this is the other part, because it's so secure, it's hard to see what anybody's got, right? But they put all their money in it, and they've made millions and millions of dollars off of it. And they're traveling around the world and so on. Now, what he's said, and this is just a side note of it, but where you store it is you got to be very careful. Remember I mentioned you put it in a wallet? Well, there's something called a cold storage, and a cold storage is what's offline. And that's what he did. So he's got several, when I saw his interview, he's got several cold storages in different countries so that people who are trying to hack, because with new digital anything brings new kinds of hackers, and that's what's happened. So you've got all these bots that are trying to, they're called bots, that are trying to hack the cryptocurrency. And it actually happened with Coinbase. Coinbase is a trading platform for stocks and cryptocurrency and so on. And they went public just, I think a year ago, actually, maybe almost 2 years ago now. And they were hacked. And there's a lot of very unhappy customers because they didn't get their money back. And because of the change, the Bitcoin has its own unique identifier. When it got, if you got hacked and I sent all your money to my account, well, there's nothing you can do about it. So that was part of the excitement with all the Coinbase customers, because they lost a lot of money and there's nothing you can do about it. That's where a lot of the risk comes in. But some people are willing to take these kind of risks because they think that they're going to be just like that family who invested everything and it just took off, and I think they got lucky more than anything, quite honestly. Because if it was such a sure thing, everybody would have done it, and everybody would have become multimillionaires overnight or over the last 5 years. And it's just not something that everyone was like, oh yeah, that's it. That's the winner right there. And that was the one thing that I always caution people where, I get the risk. I do. It's like going into business is a risk and you're taking a risk, but it's a calculated risk. Bitcoin has not necessarily, at the time, it didn't have a calculation where you could say, hey, that's a good risk. Like, putting an investment someplace, you can calculate the risk based on the kind of companies it's invested in, how old the company is, who the management is, who's the fund manager that's going to handle the money and stuff like that. Bitcoin was like, so we don't actually know who created it. It was a name that nobody knows, and it was somebody that was made up, and it may or may not have been more than one person. And you're just like, okay, so not really instilling a lot of confidence. But yeah, there was a lot of people that made a lot of money, but those are the stories we hear about and see about on TV. There's a lot of people that lost a lot of money too, because they didn't get in at the right time, or they tried to get in when it was high and they sold when it was low, and it didn't really work that way. So it's interesting.
Yeah, well, that's just it, right? Like, you always hear about sort of these success stories and these miracles and these champions that, make a killing. And I mean, hats off to them, good for them. I'm still waiting for my turn. But, what more often what you don't hear about is, the people who either, lose their entire life savings if they aren't necessarily being the most intelligent about their choices, or, more commonly the people who either are just kind of in the same situation they were when they started it, or they haven't been in it long enough to really formulate sort of an opinion on whether they've grown or they've lost money or whatever, right? And I think with cryptocurrency, I mean, and this is similar with any type of investing, but I would argue that crypto is a lot more fluctuating and a lot more volatile. Like, I know you were talking about Coinbase, and there's a few other different platforms as well, but like Coinbase can break it down on whether the price of, let's say, Bitcoin, because you're just talking about it, but the price of Bitcoin just over the course of the day, like you can track it to minute to hour and how much it's going up and down. And for individuals who are in it for the make money quickly, or the in it there for sort of market timing and trying to time when they get in and when they get out, I think it can be a very dangerous thing. I think if you are dumping tons of money into Bitcoin, and it's not uncommon for it to drop 15%, between the hours of 9 a.m. and 9 p.m. And then you log in the next day and it's up, 40% or whatever, right? It's really volatile. And I think that that's just a caution, to people that, when with cryptocurrency there's a lot of fluctuation. And sort of it's more so, I would argue anyway, this is all personal opinion, not expert opinion, but, it's more, your time in the market than it is timing of the market. So, the longer you're in the market, I think the more successful you're going to be than trying to calculate when's the exact right time to get in and get out. I don't think that's the right sort of, path to take. Choose to disagree. But I think it's like with anything, the longer you're in the market for, if you buy Bitcoin, don't expect to become rich tomorrow morning. You buy Bitcoin now and 5 years from now, you've made a little bit of money. Great. I think that's sort of the mindset to go into it with.
I totally agree with you. You can't time the market. I don't care what it is you're trying to. You've heard me say that before, I know. You can't. I don't believe anyone can time the market. Warren Buffett doesn't pretend to time the market. He'll even say, I don't know what the market's doing today. I'm just looking at the long term of it. So you can't time the market, and you're exactly right. And that's I'm just going to go on a little bit off on a tangent. That's where I think people get really caught up with the investing, is the emotion takes over. And while Bitcoin, because it moves so much, it's exciting and people get very emotional about it. And the truth is, investing isn't about emotion. That's where people really lose their shirt, is because they get so emotional. They see the market dropping and they get emotional and they're like, oh my gosh, I got to get my money out. And oh, I see it going up, I should be in. And that's the exact opposite philosophy of what you should be doing. You should be buying low and selling high, not the other way around. It's the same with Bitcoin. Everybody gets all excited and they're like, oh my gosh, what are they going to do? They're going to regulate it. And I should buy more because now it's going to be more mainstream, or it's gone up or it's gone down. I should get, I need to get out. And they get all excited. And that's where the emotion, I think, really is the important part of investing, no matter whether it's Bitcoin or whether it's a different crypto, or whether it's NFT. But I don't know about those, but the traditional investments, that's where emotion really becomes an important characteristic to not rule your decisions. Because when emotion doesn't rule your decisions, that's when you can do really well.
Yeah, right. It's like with anything, when emotions are high, logic's low. So when you're sitting there all day and you're on Coinbase, just, looking at your money going up and down and up and down and up and down, and you're just looking at the hour, you're forgetting to click on, the year or the all time to see that it's progressively going in the right direction or it's progressively going in the wrong one, whatever the case is. But you're just seeing that over the hour, it's, it's down 22%. And then you pull all your money out and plug it into something else, and then that one goes down. So you pull it out again, you put it back into Bitcoin or whatever. First of all, hats off to you for having that kind of time. I don't know where you find it, but no, I think that it's one of those cases where, you shouldn't be putting money into, Bitcoin or crypto that you don't expect to lose, right? I'm not saying that it's a losing system. I'm just saying that if you don't have money to be losing, probably shouldn't be shoving it all into Bitcoin. I think it's worth experimenting with for those that are interested in it, and seeing sort of where it can take you. And if you're interested, just seeing on how it fluctuates over time. And I know I was really interested in seeing sort of, okay, what's the big deal with all of this cryptocurrency and this Bitcoin, talk, because I wasn't really into it. And so I got on Coinbase, I, threw in, whatever it was, $50 or whatever, and said, let's see what happens to it. And you just watch it over time. Just, I don't really touch it. I just log on and you just see, oh, okay, it dropped 10%. Great. Next day you go in and it's up 50 and you're like, sweet. But over time, right, that balances out. And it was just more of an interesting thing to sort of see, because I'm interested in how things work, and to see, how this system, specifically Bitcoin, sort of fluctuates over time. And that's sort of where I got the idea. I was like, wow, this fluctuates a lot more than I was expecting. And it's a lot, and it's not just a little bit. It's not like 1%, 2%, whatever. It's like 40%, 15%, whatever the case is, right? So, it's something definitely to be careful with.
I agree completely. I'm going to give you a little bit of Bitcoin trivia that I think you might like, because you're exactly the right age where you'll know this. So October 2021 was the launch of the very first Bitcoin ETF, which is an exchange traded fund. That brought it a little bit into the streamlined world of finance. Okay. And do you know who it was that brought that in? To give you the name, it's the Winklevoss Brothers. And
Okay, I wouldn't.
you might know them because they were the ones that got into the lawsuit with Mark Zuckerberg over Facebook, the twins that he went
Oh,
to school with.
okay.
Yeah. So those guys, they got a lot of money from their Facebook lawsuit, and they got in early with Bitcoin and stuff, and they launched the first ETF in October, just last year, like the end of last year. So,
Okay. Yeah, I
so
didn't know
there
that.
is, that's kind of cool, eh? So you can see where, like you and I are talking about where it came about and how, and it's very risky, but it's just, and I mean, just recently, within the last few months, started to sneak into the mainstream financial world by having, and there's a couple more ETFs that have come on since then. So I think there's like 3 in total that you can exchange on the actual New York Stock Exchange. So that's
Wow.
kind of, yeah, it's kind of cool. Do I do I know much about them, and am I an expert on them? No. For sure.
Honestly, I mean, there's definitely people out there that have done really well with cryptocurrency and Bitcoin, and they would either be self-proclaimed experts, or maybe they're even experts in their own right. Who am I to say? But I think it's definitely something very difficult to be an expert in, just because of the unpredictability and the volatility. And I think if it's something you're interested in, seriously, then that's fantastic. Just make sure you do your research and you focus and you put your energy into really learning about it before you go into it. I mean, I'm a big fan of, I learn by doing. So like, that's why I said I dropped, some insignificant proportion of money into crypto just to sort of see how it worked, because I was curious. Something like that is fine, but don't go dumping your life savings. I mean, if I can offer a piece of advice, don't go dumping your life savings into Bitcoin. I mean, it is, some would say it's the currency of the future, and I'm not going to neither confirm nor deny that it's possible. But I think more than anything, it's just, it just like any type of investment is fluctuating, and there's dips and drops over time. And just to be cognizant of the fact that there are going to be changes, and like we were saying, you can't predict the market. There's absolutely no way. If you can, if you have some type of ability to see into the future, please let me know, because I have some questions for you. But yeah, I'd have some questions. I'm still waiting on my chance to become a millionaire, so hit me up, slide into the DMs or whatever. But I highly would doubt anyone saying that they can predict the market in terms of cryptocurrency. It's just too unpredictable.
I think you're right. And in general with the market, the advisor coming out of me is going to be a well-diversified portfolio. It is always, a good plan. It's catered to the person. Because here's the other thing, is Bitcoin good for everything? An 85-year-old, 90-year-old person, should they be putting their life saving into it? No, probably not. But they shouldn't be putting their life savings into one anything. So I feel like it's the same. It can be part of a portfolio in a really well thought out and calculated way. It shouldn't be just some random thrown in there because you don't have the risk tolerance for it. And if you're going to be up all night worrying and stressing about it, like you said really well, you're willing to, for research purposes, you throw some little bit of money into it to see what happens. You're not losing sleep over it. It's not an amount of money that you're thinking, oh my gosh, if it does poorly, I'm going to lose my car, my house, whatever, my kids' education. It's not meant for that. But I think no investment should be meant for that. You should be able to invest well, whether it's a Bitcoin or whatever a traditional investment is, and be able to sleep at night without waking up in a cold sweat thinking, did that just tank and I lost all my money? So I think you're 100% on, just doing good planning. So
yeah, and I think that's a good note to sort of leave off on, is, with crypto is the same with any type of investment, is, don't go dumping everything into one type of investment. Portfolio diversity is your best friend in that scenario.
so much fun doing that show with you, Ashlee.
Thank you for choosing to listen to Financially Speaking Radio Show. Kathy Cook-Noble will return next Monday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 3 p.m. Central, 2 p.m. Mountain, and 1 p.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. We hope you'll join us. Until then, have the best week of your life by making the choices that bring you all that you desire.